But the best thing that Crittenton gave me was they really planted the seeds for me to believe that I could change my life.
It empowered me to be confident in advocating for myself and for the family.
What brings me here? It's not the coffee. For me, it's the little stories of successes.
It only takes one of those stories to just get the energy together to try it again.
That's the reason why we come back day after day.
I needed to find people that cared.
I would be lost without Crittenton. I wouldn't know what to do. I probably, in the end, would have lost my family. When my daughter was born, I was 17 when she was born. I didn't get to live with her mom because she was young also. When she got older, I started noticing a change. She was starting to hang out with the gang. She started smoking marijuana, ditching school, and her grades were completely dropping. And that's when Mom, she told me, she's like, you know what? I can't deal with her anymore. Would you take her? I was very happy. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm finally going to have my daughter here. To me, I didn't think she had anything wrong mentally. I thought she was just, okay, she's just being a teenager. She's just being rebellious, until she started hearing the voices. I got a call from Montebello High School stating that my daughter was on the way to USC Medical Center. She was in the restroom and she sliced her wrist. When the doctor came up to talk to me, it almost seems like I was the cause of this. After that, she would draw like somebody like in an accident, bleeding. She would just not talk. She used to explode at school, and there we go, another cut, and there she goes back into another hospital. I wanted to help, but I didn't know how to even go about getting any kind of help for her. Physically, I was breaking down. Emotionally, I was breaking down. My job was put in jeopardy because I wasn't working to my full potential. I remember driving home with my oldest daughter in the car, and I started crying. I felt I was going to lose my family. I felt I was going to lose everything.
My sister and I, we were sexually assaulted. I was 5. We didn't know the guy. He was a tenant renting a back house. Yeah, and after that, it was kind of like my mom. I guess it probably shattered her world, and it did the same for the whole family. My dad just wasn't around anymore. Going into middle school, our home was kind of unsupervised, since Dad was never around and Mom was always working. The drugs got worse. I was never at school anymore. I would fight a lot. I was 13 when they sent me to the juvenile camp. I didn't think that it was the right thing to do to a confused 13-year-old. By the time I was 16, I had been to juvenile hall more than 6 times.
Crittenton services as a multi-service, multi-location child and family advocacy organization.
Here at Crittenton, we strive to treat the whole child and not just the label that they come with.
Our kids come with multiple problems. Most of them have come, they come from years and years of trauma.
You can never change history, but you can change how that trauma affects their future.
Wraparound services really offer an intensive home-based service.
We don't just serve that one assigned client, we serve the entire family.
The team would meet with both of us, and then my daughter had her therapist, and I had the parent partner.
We have this motto stating, doing whatever it takes.
Our team will be out there at 2 o'clock in the morning if that's what it takes.
If she had a crisis at midnight, somebody would pick up the phone.
In Hector's case, we saw improvements almost immediately.
I noticed that her mood was changing. She was happier.
She actually stopped those self-injurious behaviors.
She has to be on medication, and now, to this day, she claims she doesn't hear the voices now.
And within 6 months, the social worker had seen so much progress that they decided to close their case.
For once, we actually saw a big light in the end of the tunnel.
When I describe what residential treatment is, it's kind of like you have juvenile hall on one hand and you have home on the other hand, and we're the stepping stone between the two.
We drove up to the house and I thought the campus was beautiful. It looked free, like a free space. It was very open, and my initial thought was I can run away.
Running away is not a bad behavior to be punished. To us, it's a symptom of pain.
When Lucero ran, we followed her down the street.
Kind of expected them to jump out of the van and like knock me on the floor and put my hands behind my back and throw me in the van, but they didn't.
I just asked her, you're gonna have a choice, but can you give us a chance?
And I was like, what does she mean, give them a chance? Like, the whole time I had felt like no one ever gave me a chance.
At that moment in time, she thought, oh, this is not a place where you do time. This is a place where you can actually change and get rehabilitated.
Yeah, that was the first time I didn't feel rejected, and I felt like they saw me as a person and not a criminal.
Our kids have a profound amount of pain.
All of our clients get mental health services.
Her way of therapy was so unique, and it's, and I really liked it. It was, we're gonna play Jenga. I don't know, I always felt happy when I talked to her.
She was enrolled in school and figured out she liked school, and she actually went.
I started to realize I was doing very well. It made me feel achieved. It made me feel like a good person. And they always rewarded it.
She got an on-campus job, which is often where they start learning, how to budget money and how to make money and how to show up for work.
I had never stepped foot on a college campus before until I came to Crittenton. They had like a field trip. And then I think that's when I really realized you can do whatever you want.
For many of the children, it is going to be a rocky road and not a straight line towards recovery.
A month and a half later, she ended up just falling back to her same routine. The difference this time is that I'm more knowledgeable on what's going on, so now I can read the signs better. I honestly feel that the rep services gave me the tools to help me save my daughter.
This is definitely a different Hector than we first met.
She's been hospitalized so many times. Now I basically advocated for myself. And I'm like, okay, now that I did all that I could, what can the school do? They ended up putting her in a residential school out of state. I'm actually excited to get her back soon.
Lucero's story is particularly impactful because she was returned to the same environment that caused the triggers.
She went back to the drugs, which happens a lot, but she still went to school.
I didn't ditch anymore. Even though I was doing drugs, I always made sure that I went to school.
Once she had her daughter, at some point she thought, man, I don't want to do this anymore.
And I really just hit the ground running, and now I'm at USC. I'm about to graduate, and then I'll be entering my master's program.
After Crittenton, I was having actually dinner with my daughter, and she's like, you know what, Dad? You were so good at helping me through this. Why don't you try to become a parent partner? About a year later, I applied to Crittenton services, and now I'm a parent partner.
If I didn't get back on the van, I probably would have ended up like at a high security correctional facility.
Without Crittenton, I would have lost my daughter. She would have been pulled from me. Maybe I even would have lost the baby, and I probably would have divorced.
There's many families out there who have struggled with this, and Hector's story is only one story.
We need to continue to do what we're doing.
For me, knowing that the seeds that we all planted, and they germinated, they grew, they're flourishing, they're spreading.
And now we serve over 2,000 people in multiple programs in multiple counties.
That's when our community becomes a healthier and safer place.
We wouldn't be here 50 years if it weren't for all of the employees, volunteers, and board and donors of Crittenton.
Thank you to Crittenton Services, to the team that helped us out and believe we can succeed.
Thank you for still reaching out to me, and to this day, you still help me.
We couldn't do it by ourselves. We couldn't.
It means the world to me.
It was just amazing. Just amazing.